Hey everyone, welcome back to Foil Fridays. Today we are going to talk about a subject that everybody seems to want to call and talk about today, and that is wing foiling. So this is the hot newest thing out there on the wind sports industry, water sports industry, and everybody's got these wings and they're all fun. We've talked about some of them before, and we're going to continue to review and talk about these as we test and review some new models. But today we're going to talk about what's underneath your feet, not in your hands, what's underneath your feet, what board and foil are you going to want to use for wing foiling. Now, there is a lot of different names for this sport right now. You'll hear wing foiling, you'll hear wing surfing, you'll hear hand kite, you'll hear wind wing, things like that. I'm just going to call it wing foiling because we're foiling, we got a wing in our hands. I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comments section, what you think the best name for these things are, because really as an industry, we haven't settled on that yet. So let's hear what you have to think and why in the comments section. As with all of our videos, you can click in the eye icon in the upper right hand corner. That's going to take you to our Knowledge Center and our website where you get more in-depth blog, written blog on the website, as well as links and Knowledge Center to our other videos and blogs within our website. So jump in there and check it out. So we've been out there testing out these new wing foils for the past 2-3 months between duotone, slingshot, Nash, and ozone, and we're really figuring out which ones work best for what and what, where they excel. But in that process, we've tried a few different boards, and what's become really apparent as the equipment below your feet with your board and your hydrofoil really matters a lot. If you have the wrong equipment, it can really inhibit your progression. So we're going to start with the board. When you're starting wing foiling, most people are going to want to start on a paddle board. So there are guys out there using surfboards and stuff like that in really higher winds and really skilled individuals, but your average Joe in your normal wind speeds are going to want to use a paddle board. Now, I'd recommend a hydrofoil specific paddle board. Reason being, obviously you have to mount the foil somewhere, but also you get a little bit more compact design typically, a little wider, stouter shape, and another big feature of these, a lot of times you're going to get a kicktail right behind the foil box. Now, the short shape is going to allow you a little bit more maneuverability. It's also going to give you a little bit more room to pump when you're up on foil. But most importantly, there's less nose in front of the foil to have to lift off the water. When you're lifting up onto foil, there's a suction, and the more nose, the more board you have in front of the foil, the more force it takes to get that suction to lift, to remove that surface tension on the front of the board and get on foil. For wing foiling, you don't have a ton of power like you would kiteboarding, so every little bit helps when you're trying to foil in kind of moderate conditions. So having a little shorter board removes that surface tension on the front of the board. Similarly, the kicktail in the back, if you look at this Nash Hover, has a kink or a kicktail behind the foil box, and what that does is it allows the board to rock up on foil and get that angle in the proper direction going without dragging the tail in the water. So that gives you, just like a skateboard, kind of a kicktail that's going to allow you to lift that nose up and break that surface tension without creating drag through the water. Because if you can imagine, you have your board that's lifting and your foil underneath, you tip it up to get it in the proper direction to lift and kick it up to get pumping and going. If you push hard on the tail while it's on the surface of the water, you're creating drag through the water. So that kicktail helps to solve that problem, get you up in the right direction, easier, but also removing the drag that the tail would ordinarily create there. So that's a key feature if you want to get foiling in moderate winds. Now you can use any foiling paddleboard, it'll work, but that feature really helps you get up on plane, get up on foil just a little bit sooner, and really have the most success because most of us out there don't have a lot of crazy windy days that are just going to pop you up on foil right away, especially when you're learning. You're going to need to work for it a little bit. So having that feature can really help out. So in addition to the short shape, a lot of these foiling paddleboards tend to be a little wider and thicker than your average board of the same size. Now what that does, number one, it adds volume, so you can stand on this thing and float even though it's so short, but also aiding in stability. The width is going to make sure that you're not whoa, too tippy and falling over. So that extra stability on the board is gonna, really give you that side-to-side stability when you're standing slowly before you get up on foil. And it's harder than it seems. I'm a decent foil boarder and done some paddle boarding, surfed my whole life. But when it's all new to you, you're holding this wind thing in the wind and the chop is going up and down, a little bit of extra stability can really help your progression. And once you're up on foil, it's really not going to hold you back any. So that being said, what models are your favorite? Well, I'm holding one of them. This is the Nash Hover 110 in carbon sandwich construction. The 110 for wing foiling for me is perfect. It's small but not too small, big but not too big, and I'm about 190 pounds. In choppy conditions, or in maybe a situation where I'm not quite as skilled on foil or skilled on a board, I would really prefer the 125 for the extra width. It's not that much longer, and really that extra bit of stability is really going to help newer riders or those people without a lot of board sports skill. So when in doubt, add a little bit more foam, make your life easier, and then once you're up on foil, it's not going to get in your way too much as long as it's still that compact shape like it is. Another popular board for wing foiling, and another one that we've used in our testing process, is the Slingshot Outwit. Now the Outwit, for the same volume, is just a little bit longer than the Hover Sup foils, but it's mainly because the nose is pointy. You've still got a bit of a kicktail, and Slingshot's going to have some release channels, which also help with breaking that surface tension in the tail. So that's another great board to look at. In terms of sizing, on average, for your average Joe, we're going to say the Hover 95 from Nash is good for your lighter weight riders, maybe 160 pounds or below, maybe even below that if you're not super skilled on a paddleboard, maybe 140 pounds. The 110 is going to be great for your average size guys, so that kind of 130 to 190 pound person. If you don't have that much paddleboard skill, or you're thinking, my balance isn't what it used to be, maybe up to about 175 pounds. Lastly, the 125 is going to be good, really for anybody up to about 250 pounds with a little bit of skill. We'll say maybe 220 if you're lacking in the balance category. And like I said before, when in doubt, if you're kind of on the line, you're not really sure, it's better to have a little bit more board. You're not progressing if you're constantly falling in the water. And at the end of the day, you need enough board there to be stable and float you. Like I had said before, once you're in the air, board's not going to matter a whole lot other than maybe just a little bit of swing weight. But the differences between the different sizes of boards isn't life-changing in terms of that, at least at a beginner intermediate level. The last feature on a wing foiling board that is really important for some people is going to be foot strap holes, or foot strap mounting holes. You'll see this Nash Hover has them. I had mentioned the Slingshot Outwit that has it as well as some of our other brands like JP are going to be featuring mounting holes so you can use foot straps or foot hooks with the board. Those people that prefer to be hooked in have a little bit more control, a little bit more leverage over the board and the foil. That will be available for them. Personally, I like to shift my feet around a little bit, be able to stance change more easily without stepping on straps or hooks. And I'm not doing any airs or anything at this point. So for me, I leave them off, but in the future, it's nice to have that option. Hey guys, just realized this video is getting a little bit long. There's Chris, hi Chris, and our packing area. So we are gonna bust this up into two parts. Part one with the boards and part two with the wings. So be sure to click in and stay tuned for next week's video with the wings. As with all of our videos, be sure to click the eye icon in the upper right hand corner of the screen. That is going to take you to our foil boarding knowledge center as well as our other knowledge centers. and get you more information about more foil related topics and written blogs. So click in up there and check those out. Thanks for tuning in to learn more about wing foiling equipment. This has been Tucker with Matt Kiteboarding. As with all of our videos, be sure to give us a thumbs up if you appreciated it or liked it. Share it with a friend. Subscribe to our channel for more awesome videos coming your way.